A big video today. I'm teaching you guys how to play lockdown man defense. We already know man is OP, but I'm going to teach you how to take it to the next level. But before we get into it, hit that like and subscribe button. You already know. Leave your messages down in the comments and let me know if this works for you. Let's get into the video. Okay, let's talk about man coverage. There are a lot of things that you can do in Madden 2021, and I'm talking about old gen here because we all know that new gen is basically a waste of your time. There's a lot of things you can do on old gen that will improve your man coverage, especially if you're dialing up that blitz and you're trying to mess up the offensive timing. Now, the one thing to know about this game is that there are some schemes and some formations and some plays that just play man a lot better than other formations and other schemes, and it's your job to figure out which ones work best for your particular defense. I'm going to show you a few on mine. Okay, just like we know on offense there are a few streaks that are just a little bit faster, just a little bit more glitchier than others. It's the same thing that happens on defense. Okay, so here we are in the Miami Dolphins playbook, and I'm going to run that big nickel over G, and I'm going to show you two different formations. Well, two different plays, and I'm going to set them up basically the same. We're going to see how they play man versus other particular man coverages. All right, so here we go. We're going to run two man here. Basically, all I'm going to do is I'm going to press a course, and then I'm going to play over the top like most people do. Now let's walk through and see what happens when we play over the top. We see that pretty much all the receivers get free releases, and they're free to pretty much run their routes as is. This is a problem. I don't want you to play over the top unless you're just trying not to give up a big play. Let's look here. We'll see that there's absolutely no press. Their corners are doing their best just to stay in coverage, but they're getting free releases. And free releases ultimately allow the receiver to get underneath the actual corner because you're playing over top of them. So you'll see this corner here is playing over the top of this receiver, and Julio gets that free cut underneath. We're not messing up timing. Man, you want to mess up timing, especially if you're dialing up a blitz. So now let's just play this one thing with actual just regular press and see what happens. So this time, no over the top. We're just going to regular press, and we'll see here. We do get some disruption. It's a little different. The receivers still kind of get off the ball. So let's look at an instant replay on this. So when we go into instant replay, we'll see that here we get this stutter step off the line. And we don't really get a jam here. There's absolutely no jam. I mean, we get a little bit here, but he still kind of is able to get open. He has that not so much free release, but he's still moving, right? As we look over here on this side, we see that we're pretty much locked down here. We still get that underneath, but he's pretty much guarded here, right? But that jam at that line of scrimmage wasn't really what we needed. He's still getting up the field on us, all right? Look at that. He's still moving up the field, and that's normal press coverage. Now let's do it a little bit different. Let's take it to the next level here. We're gonna press. Now we're gonna play underneath. So we're gonna press triangle and press underneath on our DBs, and this is going to force them to play inside of the hip pocket or underneath their receivers' routes. So let's see what happens when we call this particular play. All right, we get our sack. Let's look. So we play underneath, and you'll see that the receiver actually, it's a little tiny jam here. It's a little fake out. He takes a little bit more time out to his line of scrimmage. Now the difference here between the other one is that he's not actually getting downfield until he makes his move. Let's look at over here at Julio. Julio is getting slightly jammed at the line of scrimmage, but we did force that route to go inside this time instead of him going outside this way, which actually forces him back towards our safeties. So we see that all of our DBs are playing underneath their receivers right now, but that's still not what we want because we're beat. It's still not what we want. We're still beat here for a deep throw. We're still beat here for a corner route. It's still not quite where we want it. So let's try to take this to the next level. I'm gonna press RB. I'm gonna press pinch. So this is gonna pinch pretty much everyone and make my DBs press. So you see my DBs come down, my linebackers pinch, and my D-line pinch. I'm gonna play underneath again. This time I'm going to take this guy. I'm just gonna move him right over Julio. I'm gonna take this guy here and move him right over 83. And I'm gonna actually have 83. I think that's Calvin Ridley running out route instead. Now let's go ahead, hike the ball, see what happens. Okay. So what we're gonna do on this possession is actually press RB or R1 on PlayStation, and we're going to pinch the entire defense. I'm going to put Phillips right over Ridley, and I'm going to put Jackson right over this receiver here, and I'm still gonna play underneath on them and just make sure that we're pressed again, okay? This time what I'm gonna do is actually have Ridley run a slant, and we're gonna just see how the defense plays this particular coverage, all right? Here we go. We get a really good jam on our receiver on the slot, and it looks like we're pretty much right underneath all of the receivers. So let's look at this one more time. So here we go. We get an amazing jam right here off the line of scrimmage, which pretty much destroys that entire slant right there. We're on top of the slant. That's covered. That is bagged. We see on this side, we're still getting beat. We're a little bit too far. We line them up a little bit too far outside. We're still getting beat inside, but for the most part, we're kind of in that hip pocket. We're probably beat right here. And let's look at Julio Jones on his backside. We get him, we get a fake outside, but we're right there in that hip pocket. He makes that cut, we're right on top of it. We're right on top of that right there. We're actually covered. This is actually covered unless you make that throw right here. You'd have to make that throw right here in order for that to be open. We're pretty much covered right there. And that's a light years ahead of what we did by just pressing and playing underneath. When we did the RB and then we played underneath, it made the DBs respond a little bit different. But this is not what I wanted to show you. This is just an explanation of everything that's going to come together at the end. Remember, I said that there's some formations that just play man a lot better. That's just how the game works. There are some formations that literally are baked into the code where they play man more efficient than other formations. And big nickel over G with 2 man is just not one of those formations. The formation that I like to run man out of is this cover 1 hole. For some reason, it plays man a lot closer and a lot more aggressive than actual any other man coverage out of big nickel. So let's go back into that Y off trips and let's just run some crossers here. And we're gonna do the same thing now. We're gonna press RB or R1. We're gonna pinch our entire defense, okay? And then we're gonna play underneath coverage. And we're just gonna let this rock and see how the offense naturally plays man coverage. Now you see that even the alignment here is different. This is the alignment that we wanted right over the receiver. This is the alignment that we wanted right over the receiver. And even Gilmore is okay, but we kind of want him like right here. All right. So again, we're gonna pinch everybody, play underneath, and then just control our safety to kind of like let him do what he does. But we're just gonna see what the defense does. Here we go. Let's look at this again. Now remember, this is the same setup we did in cover 2 man, but it's a different formation now. So let's look and see what we have here. So here we go. We get a great jam off the line of scrimmage here, but look at this. We stay right in that hip pocket. We're right in that hip pocket there. Let's look at over here on Ridley. Another really good jam here. A great jam here, but not only did we jam him, we flattened him out. We're right there. And more than likely, you'll have a purple route over here to protect that. But that jam that forced him to come down a little bit more is what you want right here. Let's look at Jones. Look at this. We get that jam. Now remember, I played underneath. Remember when we initially played underneath with the last one, Gilmore actually came outside and played actually underneath him. But for this particular formation, he doesn't. We play underneath. We get the jam, he's still jamming him, still riding him, but look, he's actually over top of Julio and he's running step for step with him. If you have a fast corner with go deep on him, he's going to knock that ball down 9 out of 10 times. You don't have anything to worry. Even though we played underneath, look at Gilmore, he's still riding him step for step down the field. He's not beat at all. So let's actually run another play, maybe more crosses this time, and let me show you how to take your man even to the next step. Okay, so for this particular example, I actually put all of my corners in, and I have corners where my safeties are supposed to be because corners normally have better press. So here we go. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna press that R1, we're gonna pinch, we're gonna play underneath coverage, and now we're gonna set up our defense to cover things that we know naturally get beat. So I'm gonna take my X linebacker and I'm just gonna put him on a curl flat. And that's pretty much it. I'm gonna user Jones pretty much, but for example, I'm not gonna user him. But this is who your user would be, and you would just roam around and take anything else out underneath. You can really focus underneath here because you're not worried about getting beat over top because this works so well. So again, we're gonna pinch, we're gonna play underneath, and then we're gonna just use our safety. And I'm running this in gun bunch this time because a lot of people run gun bunch. I just want to show you how effective it is even in gun bunch. So let's go ahead and run this play real quick. I'll show you the play that we're running. So this is our play art. Watch the jams. I'm even going to streak Julio here so you guys can see just that he stays on top. So here we go. All right, let's just look at the play. Let's look at the instant replay. Now, mind you, Julio Jones is way better than this corner. And he's kimmed up, okay? So Julio Jones not only has kims, he's just a lot better than this corner here. And that pretty much goes for most of the Patriots DBs except Stephon Gilmore. So here we go. We're playing over top. We get a great jam off the line here. Of course, we're not going to get the jam on the tight end. We never do. So we get a great jam here. We get another great jam here. So at this point, the play is already developed and the quarterback has the ball. If you're sending a blitz, he's already taken, let's see here. The quarterback has taken 1, 2, 3. He's 5-yard drop already. So he goes from pretty much here, I would say 4 yards back already. He's 4 yards back, and Julio Jones is not even 6 yards off the line of scrimmage. He's barely made it 6 yards off the line of scrimmage because of that initial jam right here, which destroys your timing. It takes Julio Jones way too long to get 6 yards. The quarterback is already back 5. These guys are still basically in the box. They're still jammed. He's not even 3 yards down the field. This guy's barely 4 yards down the field, and the quarterback is already sitting there waiting for someone to throw the ball to. So we're sending a blitz. If you look at this, no one is open besides this guy right here. This is the only guy that's open, and that's because we're not blitzing. So this off gate is already bagged, right? If we're sending a blitz, this is bagged. Those guys are still fighting to get down the field. Look at that. Everyone is still covered, still covered, still covered. This is your only shot here. But this corner is still step to step with him. Still step to step. So again, let's look. We're getting deep into our routes here. This guy looks like he's coming open. He looks pretty open, but even still, I think with Kim's here, you'll make a good adjustment here, and that could possibly be a pick. He's not even a yard separated. This could probably be open if you throw underneath, but at this time, this 4-man rush is already coming into his face, right? Everything is bagged. This is without a blitz. This is a natural 4-man rush, okay? Now let's run this same thing with just a regular cover 2 underneath. So again, we're same thing. Julio Jones is going to be on a streak. We're going to press that RB button. We're going to press down. We're going to press underneath. And we're just going to make sure our corners are lined up where we want them to be lined up, right? So just kind of adjust those guys. And you're going to use this guy to pretty much take off anything that comes open. And I'm not saying everything is going to be bagged. What I am saying is you won't have to worry as much about those deep routes. You can take this corner and pretty much be confident, or this safety, and pretty much be confident that, you know, nothing's going to come over if you find the right play. This is, I know, is not going to work as well because it's just not one of those baked in plays, but I just want to show you the difference. We did exactly the same thing, same setup. Let's watch the difference. So here we go. There's a big difference on this play. There's a big difference on this play than last play, right? Julio Jones is going to come wide the freak open. Look at this. Boom, he's beat. And it's because of how this particular formation plays underneath versus other formations. Basically, this formation plays underneath where the corner actually should go underneath the receiver. So you see that this corner gets in trail technique immediately because that's what we told him to do, right? These corners are doing the same thing. Look, we're playing in trail technique. We're playing in trail technique here. Everybody's in trail versus being on top like we played in other formations. So let's go back to the previous formation and show you the instant replay. So you'll see this guy's already beat. Look at that. This guy's probably beat. That guy's probably beat. And it's simply because the play call is not anything else to do besides that the actual play call and the coding for this play puts them in an underneath position. So let's go and look at cover 1 hole again, and let's run that same play. So here we go. Julio Jones, he gets jammed here. That jam is completely different than the last jam, right? He gets over him, but look at our corner. He's running step for step with Julio Jones. Now, if he's faster, a better corner, of course he's going to be able to keep up with Julio. But again, this guy is not as good as most of your corners. But it's more so about this animation here. You'll see that this guy, instead of playing underneath in his hip like he did in the last one, he's actually trying to run with Julio Jones. And if you have someone, and he's even not even that beat as much as he was on the last play, he's pretty much step for step. He's just not that good of a corner, right? So you'll see that he's actually running step for step with Julio Jones. If you have like a Charles Woodson and Mutt, he's going to be able to keep up with this guy. And if you have the go deep or deep zone knockout or deep zone KO or whatever it may be, or deep man KO, you're going to be able to knock that ball down 9 out of 10 times. The gist of what you want to do here is find great blitzes that allow you to play underneath with that pinch technique, because if you cannot get the ball off quick, you're going to get a sack. So you want to try to come in practice mode, run these plays, press R1, pinch your defense, play underneath, and see how your man corners react to figure out what blitzes are going to be the best for you. I can tell you right now, there are a lot of blitzes that I'm going to give to my subs that you can pair this technique with the blitz. One of the ones that I really enjoy to use the most, of course, is mid blitz. But the way I run mid blitz is with the same setup that I just showed you guys. Mid blitz does work pretty well. It's unfortunate you're gonna have to motion. There are ways to beat this, of course, with the motion, and of course with, you know, your backs out the backfield. But for the most case, locking down receivers, mid blitz is going to do that well with this setup. Now, again, what I'm going to do is press that RB button, press down, and then I'm going to play underneath, right? So I'm going to bring McCourty down so he can actually play this as well as possible. And I'm just going to bring this guy down as well. So the issue is he needs to be here. So again, I'm going to set up my defense the way they need to be set up. So I press RB, press down, pinch everyone, play underneath, right? Then I just go ahead and move my defensive line over to the right. And now it's a free ball game. I'm playing with McCourty. I'm going to take this back if he comes out. If he doesn't come out, I'm going to take anything over here. And Julio Jones is never going to have time to get deep enough for him to throw over top. Watch, here we go. Julio Jones, he doesn't have time. He absolutely does not have time to set his feet to hit Julio Jones. I will be releasing some of my favorite blitzes using this technique in this formation, or definitely other formations as well, to my members and to my subs. So if you guys are looking for some freebies, just come over and become a member of the channel or become a sub over on the Twitch. We stream every Monday, Tuesday, and Saturday. Mondays and Tuesdays we stream at 6:30. And Saturdays we stream at 1 p.m. Make sure you guys look us up. It's been love. It's been your boy DD Chef. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll do more of these lab sessions in the future. But for now, we out. Peace.